This is the time for empty courtesies. I'm here with Stephen Brust to discuss his book 500 Years After in a read-along commentary format. This is chapter the third, which treats of pastries and of the care that must be exercised with regard to casual correspondence.
When I was rereading it just now, I was remembering the pastry, the bit with Raph, the pastry vendor, which does, I'm pleased with that. It does a number of things. One, it establishes that in that society, the idea of that level of corruption, in other words, he gets a free one and he just accepts it as a natural, that's how things work, is accepted and not even worth a comment.
Right.
And also it was one of the best ways, I think, to give an idea of the taxes, the changes in the economy that were taking place in this time and that are going to become important.
I noticed that as I was reading the juxtaposition of Raph and his financial situation versus the imperial situation, where it's like, okay, the common people can notice there's stuff happening because there are taxes, but it's not like it's an economic disaster for the city.
Yeah, and generally any, a feudal-based economy is much different in a lot of ways, but you can still get the situation where trouble at the top takes a while to be reflected at the bottom.
But it does eventually, in some ways, get reflected.
Yeah, exactly.
How many coppers worth of wheat go into each pie? Like
right.
it takes a while, but it does get there.
Yeah, so that was fun, and also, food. So I guess that can be considered another one of the things a food scene can do, as we're collecting that list of all the stuff you can do with food in a fantasy novel.
Why bother listing it? Wouldn't it be easier to list the things that food in a fantasy novel can't do?
It's a shorter list, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, food can't really be the point of view. And I say that realizing that there are people out there right now going, oh, but wait, there's this one short story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, the thing is that food rarely has agency.
Rarely, and yet. And yet.
Yeah, and I was remembering the whole bit with the letter, that he was writing, and the device of revealing to the reader that Kavrin had just killed someone by having it be in this letter he was writing. If I wanted,
I actually wrote that exact note in my in my little chapter notes. The device of skipping over the action and then having Kavrin describe it in a letter. I thought it was nice.
If I wanted to get super pretentious about this, I could say that was a sort of microcosm of the whole of the entire book, in the sense of how action is revealed.
Well,
but that'd be a bit of a stretch.
I don't know if it's that much of a stretch. I mean, you kind of tend to take things and play with them on a per book basis. Like with Good Guys, someone gave you an idea and you ran with it and revealed all the action in a certain way.
Right.
So you could definitely take that and extend it to this book as well, I think.
Yeah, it goes back to, for the lessons in writing thing, it goes back to the whole find cool ways to do exposition thing.
Right. And, as long as you're expositing good things, we're going to stick with you. But if you have some cool device, then it's fun. And how many cool things should you have in a story, Steve?
As many as possible. The novel should be seen as a structure to contain the maximum possible amount of cool stuff.
So my next goal is to find a deer to kill and butcher so that I have some venison on hand so that I can make some of the pies that are described in this book.
Ooh, I shall enjoy eating them.
Yes,
Yum.
well, if you find me a deer, we'll eat them that
Venison
much sooner.
venison is so easy to get wrong in cooking.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of the more difficult, you know. But that just, of course, makes it a challenge. Which reminds me, I have just today learned, this has nothing to do with the book, but I have just recently discovered that fried rice works better if you start with cold rice. And how did it take me this long to learn that? I don't know.
I I've told you that before. I know that I have.
Have you really?
Hmm.
Huh. Okay.
Because we've made fried rice, and I know that. And I'm sure that it was probably in the form of a remark along the lines of, we should be using leftover rice for this because it cooks much better as fried rice, but we don't have time for all that
Well,
now.
I do remember you saying that, except what you said is we should be using leftover rice for this, and I took it as the tradition for fried rice is that you use leftovers. I didn't take it as you didn't actually say it cooks better that way. So I
Okay, well,
misinterpreted it.
to get back to the book, the tradition is to grease the hand of the kindly ensign who stops by your pie cart each day
Right,
in the form of a pie. No one mentions that it makes things work better for you, but it is the tradition.
right. And of course, as you know, everyone who reads the thing senses the instant we have the attempt on Kavrin's life, now we are, I mean, that is sort of the first marker that says plot is happening.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of typical for me is that I, when making notes for the chapter and everything, I'm just like, ooh, yeah, there's great food value in this. And ooh, look at the cool plot device. What? What? An attempt on Kavrin's life? Oh, that, whatever. I'm sure we'll get back to that later.
Whereas it's very typical for me, at least in these books, that it takes until chapter 3 before the plot starts.
So, predictions, because I haven't gone into the next chapter yet, and it's been a while. Do we actually find out anything about this attempt on Kavrin's life in the next chapter, or is it going to be another 5 or 6 chapters before we get back around?
I don't remember.
Hmm.
I guess, yeah, but it's been so long. But yeah, stuff's starting to happen. So I guess there's a good place to stop with stuff starting to happen.
I guess there is. We'll post this video at some point, and then next chapter will be chapter what now?
Chapter 4, the in a bad part of the city.
Fantastic. All right, looking
Oh
forward
yeah,
to it.
that's where we meet the bad guys.
Oh, there's bad guys.
There's
Excellent.
bad
Okay.
guys, yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Cool. Bye.
bye.